They say friendship is built on trust, on shared secrets, mutual support, knowing someone has your back even when the rest of the world doesn't. In the shimmer and glare of 90 Day Fiance, under the blur of cameras and contestation, friendship sometimes fractures, revealing raw insecurities, fragile loyalties, and wounds we thought healed but clearly hadn't. That's the heart of Loren Brovarnik's recent revelation. She says Libby betrayed her by letting a body-shaming comment leak, something Loren shared in private, during a vulnerable time, hoping her friend would keep her confidence. Instead, those thoughts were exposed in public, and they cut deep, setting the stage. Bodies, secrets, and friendship. Loren has been transparent about her journey, especially postpartum. Having given birth to 3 young children in consecutive years, she's been dealing with more than just diapers and sleepless nights. She confronted her own body image issues, admitted to struggles with feeling less than or disconnected from the reflection in the mirror. Her story has been one of dietitians, exercise, emotional ups and downs, and ultimately, a decision to have what's popularly called a mommy makeover. In that raw space of confessions, she shared with Libby how hurtful it felt to hear her husband, Alexei, make comments about her appearance, comments that, whether intended or not, made Loren feel unworthy. She believed that Libby would understand, maybe even defend her. After all, their friendship had weathered many seasons. The exposed secret, body shaming, unveiled what hurt Loren most wasn't just the body shaming itself, it was that someone she trusted, someone she confided in deeply, might have been part of its echo. According to her side of the story, when Libby allowed those intimate details, her doubts, her fear, her hurt to be shared beyond their private conversations, that act felt like a betrayal. To Loren, being body shamed is one thing, exposing her vulnerability to the world without her consent is quite another. She felt that betrayals of trust are personal. They linger long after the cameras are off. They gnaw at sleepless nights. They leave scars no plastic surgery can erase. What was said, the nature of the remarks, words matter. And especially in 90 Day Fiance, where every glance, every joke, every whispered comment can be magnified for tension. Loren reveals that there were remarks made by Alexei about her body after children and surgery, remarks framed as jokes, as truth, as concern. But to Loren, they were cutting, poised somewhere between teasing and criticism. Yes, he's hurtful, the narrative says, but maybe not mean. Still, enough to wound. Then, Libby, who has stood up for Loren before, is accused of letting those criticisms not just privately endured, but publicly aired. Not only that, but being someone who promised discretion, someone who heard Loren's truth in private, someone who should have understood the covenant of confidences that friendship implies. Why it cut deep. The betrayal hurts for reasons beyond the words themselves. 1. Vulnerability in motherhood. Postpartum bodies are especially vulnerable terrains. The body changes, the self-image shifts, and there's an emotional nakedness that comes with holding small humans in your arms, feeding them, walking with them, hoping to regain something of yourself along the way. When that something is judged, not gently, not lovingly, it stings harder. Loren shared intimate feelings during that season when every mirror holds memories of what used to be. Having her fears echoed, even by someone she believed safe, felt like being unmasked too soon. 2. Trust broken. In close friendships, certain words become sacred. The off-camera confessions, the complaints whispered behind closed doors. We confide not because we expect perfection from friends, but because we know we're heard, respected, safeguarded. Betrayal doesn't always come from malice, it sometimes comes from thoughtlessness, but it still bruises. 3. Public spectacle. Unlike private betrayal, public one multiplies. It widens the audience of the hurt. Also, in reality TV land, once something's in the public domain, it can't be retracted, even if the intention wasn't hurtful. As Loren claims about Alexei's tone, once it becomes content, it becomes commentary. Once Libby's involvement is alleged, it becomes drama, and drama amplifies every split, every tear. Libby's role. What was expected? Libby Castrovet, Loren's friend and peer in the 90 Day Fiance universe, is no stranger to conflict. She has publicly called out Alexei before for making what she considered mean or insensitive jokes about Loren's body. So Loren believed that when she confided, told Libby of her insecurities, the moments when Alexei unintentionally hurt her, that something she shared with so much trust would remain between them, that Libby would protect her, stand with her, maybe offer compassion, maybe even confrontation. Instead, Loren says she was let down. She feels Libby let a private wound be aired without her explicit permission. That gap between what's spoken behind closed doors and what becomes public content is where Loren says the betrayal lives. The aftermath. How Loren is responding. Loren isn't silent. Writing in pain is different from being quiet. She's voiced her hurt, her shock, her disillusionment. She says forgiveness won't be easy. Trust once broken is not something you just glue back together. It demands proof. It needs consistency. She also seems to have drawn lines, setting boundaries about what's spoken in private, what's shared publicly, recognizing that some vulnerability needs protection, that some confessions are fragile, and some friendships need to be more than performance. She also reminds us she's allowed to feel pain, to feel betrayed. She's allowed to expect respect. Bigger picture, why this resonates. Loren's story is not just drama for 90 Day Fiance. It taps into universal themes: body image, societal pressure. So many of us have felt judged by partners, by family, by friends for how we look, especially after pregnancy. The expectations to bounce back, to look like you did before, or like someone else's ideal, is a weight many carry quietly. Friendship in the spotlight, when your life is part performance, when cameras capture moments you thought private, when reality and show bleed, friendships are tested. Can loyalty survive the filters? Can trust outlast the spotlight? Public versus private self. Loren's story reminds how dangerous and how painful the line between what you share and what the world takes can be. Once whispered, it can become headline. Once believed private, it might feel used. Consent. Emotional safety. What we share in private deserves a kind of consent before public airing. Not just legal, but moral and emotional. The violation comes less from what was said than the lack of permission. The exposure.